won the draft lottery.
Call Naylor.
Wow.
What else can you say about it? This is the biggest stage in world football.
This is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
All right, here we go. OverDrive off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, up on TSN 2, up on YouTube Live, streaming up on Crave.
Are you
Brian
like
Hayes.
Mrs. Doubtfire right now? Like, you just don't know who you're talking to, what panel you're on?
Yeah.
Yeah, my head is spinning. It's good to be in here, though. Very relaxed.
I'll tell you what.
Very relaxed.
I don't know what happened in the last studio. I had to pull a stunt right now. I got the big Lincoln Navigator. I parked it under a tree, and I geared down and blasted my AC. I was so hot in that studio over there.
It was aggressively
Too
warm.
many people.
I could not cool
that the-
down.
It was
there was
really a problem.
Too many people that the AC couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
what
you're
it
right.
was, because the
You're right.
AC was running. There was just too many people that were soaking it up.
I don't
And there
agree
were some
with that.
monsters in that room, too.
There
that
was
were-
some stuff happening. There were some things that were seen. And in Studio 6, it's crazy. Like, we're well aware it's crazy. But that's like, I don't know, a third of the size. And it's all the same
It's a
people.
city. It's a city.
Yeah.
Studio 6 is a city. We were in a little town.
You're right. You know what's amazing? I showed up this morning because they're using the usual studio here at TSN for World Cup production, which obviously takes precedence right now. The World Cup is continuing as we speak. And I saw Hedge. Hedge is in there, and it's like her and two other people.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, all right, we'll see you later. Going to do the pregame. 3 people in that studio doing the World Cup stuff.
We were like...
Understandable, and we were stuffed in Jay Onwright's.
I geared down. I had to change. I
It
don't
was
know how
so
you guys
hot.
are still in a suit. I can't fathom.
Yeah, it's all good, though.
Yeah.
It's all
Because
good.
we might be doing the dragger at the end of this show, and the suit just goes in the garbage. That's what it is.
All of it. Every piece of clothing I have on my body goes right into the garbage.
Yeah. I mean, it is really warm outside, period, because I did the lazy drive from one studio to the next. The car was so hot.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was we had a fun day. You know, there's a lot still going on. Frankie, you're in here with us. It sounds as if Darnell Nurse could be on his way to San Jose. Like, this is some breaking news here. What that means for Morgan Riley if you're a Toronto audience and a Maple Leaf fan, because it sure seems like Riley is looking for a change of scenery, and maybe that was a team he was hoping to go to. And I don't know if San Jose is going to take on 2 veteran guys at big money.
Got one other spot. Maybe I'm wrong. Hear me out. Anaheim. I think Anaheim,
Yeah, because Trouba and Carlson are
Gudas.
gone.
Trouba, Carlson, and Gudas are gone.
Yeah.
I think Anaheim is looking for veteran D that can move the puck and be slotted properly with younger guys.
And they brought in Nick Jensen.
Right,
so
Nick Jensen.
They get him from Ottawa. But you're right, like the suitors for Morgan Riley now, when San Jose falls out of the mix, like think what they did. They brought in Trouba. They're going to bring in Nurse. They traded for that Kessel ring.
Yeah.
They're going to have Dickinson playing. They still have Orlov on that team. Right? So it got full in a hurry in San Jose.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm back in the studio here, and like Billy Dodson's in my ear. Instead, it's Doogie and Alex.
Yeah.
We have a trade to announce.
Oh, what do you
There's no
got?
breakers in here, so we can't throw it over to Gord.
What do you got, bud?
Dennis Hildeby with a 4th-round pick in 2027 and a 3rd-round pick in 2028 going to Tampa for Nick Paul. Nick Paul is a Maple Leaf.
I like that.
He
That's
was
a
a
very
Leaf
good pick.
killer in 22. Yeah, 21 and 22, I believe they played Tampa. 22 for sure. That was Game 7 where I think he had a couple of goals against them. But that's an interesting move
There's
because
your third line center right there.
yeah, so like to recap, in case you're not aware of what's been going on today, Sergei Bobrovsky is a Maple Leaf.
Yeah.
So Bob has signed a 3-year deal at $7 million per, which means Hildeby had no chance at sticking around, right?
No.
Like Okhtyamov is the goalie of the future.
Yeah.
He's waiver exempt. He can play with the Marlies. He can go up and down next year when you need him. So you have Bob and Stolarz to start the year. They've already traded Wall. They signed Colton Sissons to a long-term deal at over $4 million per.
A lot of money.
That's a centerman.
Yep.
Yeah.
Teddy Bluger, the Leafs have signed. He is capable of playing up the middle of the ice, and now they've acquired Nick Paul.
Yeah.
So
I like Nick Paul. Now, I think he played left wing and center, but
he
can't
can
do
play both.
But
So
big
can
body,
Tavares,
move.
I guess.
Yeah.
You know, maybe John is going to move around at some point.
Yeah.
I said this to you guys off air, and, tell me what you feel about it. All the moves that they've made, it's not just lateral. There's been either a slight upgrade or a big upgrade on players. Nick Robertson's out. Well, I'll give you an example. Matthias Michelli, if that's Roslovic, that's an upgrade, like in that spot at 3-4 million, whatever that is. Nick Paul is an upgrade on, you name me somebody in that bottom six.
Well,
They don't really have.
I mean,
players
it
like
was
Nick Paul.
maybe it was Scott Lawton at times last year.
Mike
It was
Lawton,
Bo Grew by the end of the year.
But I've just, the body of work that we're looking at, if you're watching it on TV or streaming or whatever, we talked 8-10 new players,
Okay, let me run down the names here, and then you guys can speak on it. So coming in here for the Leafs, like the Chaika Sundin era, man, has been on fire.
busy.
Sergei Bobrovsky, Darren Radish, that's the number one goalie available, number one defenseman available. They both got a lot of money, and they both got term. It comes with risk, but number one goalie, number one defenseman. Gavin McKenna, obviously they took first overall. He's going to play. Now the Leafs have acquired Nick Paul, Jack Roslovic, Colton Sissons, Brandon Duhaime, Teddy Bluger, all depth forwards, and Emil Andre they got in the Wall deal as a depth defenseman. So
You've got to give them credit, and they had no choice because they had to put, they had to move the deck chairs around. But we talked about it all year long going into this offseason. It has to be different. But I would caution Maple Leaf fans, if you think that inboard and the outboard is going to equal, this is a lot of change to see if you can put it together and it's going to work and they can be some kind of quality team. That's just not because you got Bobrovsky and Radish and Gavin McKenna coming in. You're not all of a sudden cup contenders. This all has to fit together and to see if you can be a good team again and get back into playoff contention. That's what you got here.
yeah,
If you move
But
the
it's-
pieces around, there's a chance it could work and they could be a good team. But it's not like they're upper echelon elite team in the NHL. But there are different players. There's some quality ones there. Now you just have to see how it fits together and how good they can be.
Better today than they were yesterday, 100%. The other thing, too, is they're not done. We're 5 hours into free agency.
Sounds like
4
they've
hours.
signed Zach McEwen, who's a tough guy, a big body, not going to play a ton. But
Up
if
and down.
anything
Yep.
stupid happens, he'll go into the
But
lineup.
Here's the other thing. We were talking about it off air. I don't think they're done. And what I'd like to see them, because that's a lot of forwards. Let's see what they finish off the D at. That's where I'm at. Because upgrade in net, upgrade in forwards in a lot of different positions. You still have the guys. You still got Matthews, Nylander, Nice, all of that. But it's, what are we doing on D as far as the whole group? And I don't think he's done. That's what I'm saying.
Does this tell you, Frankie, with all these forward moves that, they feel like they can still get Zach Werenski and it's going to cost them multiple forwards to do it?
I mean, I guess Dregs was talking about the Werenski camp in Columbus maybe being at the point where they could patch things up, which could be true. But if you're Toronto, you don't care about that. You'll still make that call, and you'll still try and put together a package. Really what this is Toronto had no choice. If they were going to, the new regime that was going to come in was going to pitch to Keith Pelly and MLSE and the board that we can be competitive in a hurry. This is what needed to happen. Yeah. You needed to execute on signing big-name players, making some trades, and changing the way things look. So it's not kicking tires. It's a full-on overhaul. This is a renovation on what the Toronto Maple Leafs were. And to Jamie's point, they're a better team today. Can they put it all together with the new coach, and can everyone find a meaningful role within that lineup? That'll be up to them to figure out. But there's way more pieces than there were April 15th when the season ended.
Yeah, just think about a veteran guy going into training camp like an Austin Matthews or a William Nylander. You're looking around, you're like, there's a
ton of change.
A different dressing room. There's that many new bodies.
Well,
and it needed to happen.
And a completely new coaching staff.
Yeah.
So, basically, you're right, Frankie. The organization, whether it was Keith Pelly, ownership, basically determined we need to completely flush last season out.
Yeah.
And obviously there will be carryover. Matthews is back, Nylander, et cetera. But they are doing their best to overhaul the team as much as you can within reason. Bobrovsky is still the centerpiece of all of this. I would say Radish, too. I mean, those are the two.
Yeah.
Radish is going to come in.
One.
That's a big one. He's going to play a lot of minutes. As of now, he's going to run your power play. You paid him a lot of money. And Bob comes in, if he's healthy, is going to give you 45-plus starts.
And if he plays well, and he is the Bobrovsky that we hope that he can be, it is a completely different animal for everybody watching the game, and most importantly for the players on the bench, on the team, like not just us as analysts or if any of us go down to the rink and watch the game. There's been a lot of nights when Joseph Wall or Storlars or whoever else has gone in the net and you're wondering, is this guy even going to finish this game? Or what is this guy going to be like tonight? Are we going to get a good version of this guy? If Bobrovsky can go in there and be that guy, you're like, well, you're going to get a goaltending performance. Let's just see what happens around it. And he has to turn back the clock a little bit to get to that point. But if you can get a guy that goes in there to give you 45 or 50 real good ones, you should be in good shape.
It's really significant if you can get that.
As opposed to wondering if this guy going to skate out of the net or is he going to be a tire fire in there?
It changes everything.
And in Bob's defense, like last year for the Florida Panthers, you saw some of the lineups that team put on the ice. Like it was unrecognizable. They had Jesper Boqvist playing first line at times, and that's a guy who was expendable for them that they just traded. It was like rotten from top to bottom for Florida last year, and he was a part of that. We're 2 years removed from him being the centerpiece of a conversation of can't win a Stanley Cup without him.
Yeah.
So it's not that far away. It's not like he did in 2015 and you're trying to bank on it. Like it was 2 years ago where he was that goal.
There was a game that I did last year. I think it was Ottawa, Florida. And I think it was 13 players that were out of the lineup for Florida. Like it was just, I mean, Reinhart, you name it. But Bob started, and I think he gave up a 7 spot. And I remember talking to somebody afterwards. I'm like, they hung him out to dry. He's like, he wants to play.
Right.
I go, why didn't you play the other guy? It's like, he's fine. He's fine starting. And I respect that because we can look at his numbers and his age, but that's a top-tier goaltender that you don't have to play 60 games. You've got Akhtiamov, who does not need waivers, can be up and down and find a formula of 15, 20 games for him. You've got Stolars, if he can turn the clock back and not have to play every night. Like you could have a 3-pack there of guys that you can rely on nightly, to your point, where you're not worried that skating out of the net that night or whatever. Now, Stolars had a rough year last year, but maybe he gets in a more comfortable situation. We haven't factored in that Jim Hiller is a defensive coach. That's going to protect the goaltenders. That's the one thing.
Yeah.
Too.
I mean, it's going to be, I'm curious to see what, he's trying to get away from I was the 1-3-1 guy in LA. Like he's doing everything he can.
You got to be careful because that's all they were.
I know that, but he's not going to play a 1-3-1 with this team. That's not going to happen.
Better defensive players now. Colton Sisson's good defensive player. Teddy Bluger, like Duhaime's a penalty kill guy. Speedy, the guy. I think they paid market value for all these guys outside of Sissons. Sissons, they probably gave twice the amount of money.
Why do you think they would do that? Because he can play center?
They really needed a right-handed center who can penalty kill and can eat a lot of defensive zone faceoffs. I think this is Matthews. I think the Sissons is related to Matthews. Get Matthews away from defensive zone faceoffs, have Sissons take them, and free up Matthews to be an offensive guy. So
I totally
a premium
agree
for it.
I think that appears to be clear. And again, Jim Hiller told us, and I think Keith Pelly effectively told us, like they're all going to be on the same page in terms of how they're trying to build the team and how it's going to be coached. So I don't think there's going to be any pushback there. I think that's what's coming. Like I think Matthews and Nylander and probably Tavares, they're going to start getting the Ovechkin treatment. Like draws in our own zone, not happening. Top line on the ice, if we can get you off, you're coming off. Now, you still got to play them 20, 21, 22 minutes, and you have to trust them, which Hiller will be able to trust Austin Matthews in any situation. But when you turn over this amount of depth, Nick Paul included, Colton Sissons, Teddy Bluger's a grinder that can skate and fights for, these are not superstar players. These are depth players. But it would appear to me as if they're going to try to find a third and fourth line that has some sort of an identity, some pace, some defensive awareness that they're going to expect to take on some heavy lifting. And they're going to get back to kind of how Sheldon Keefe, I'll bet you Matthews doesn't kill penalties anymore.
Which is fine.
I'd put some money on
fine.
that.
Yeah.
Not going to happen.
Or kill 20 seconds of penalties per night.
Sure.
So when
Right
the
at the
penalty's
end.
ending, you'll get
Right
out
at
there
the
at the end and we'll start a 5-on-5. He doesn't have to be averaging a minute and a half of
Put it
penalty
this way,
kill
though.
time.
If that's the case, his minutes go to offensive zone situations, which is in turn going to help the player. If Matthews is going to play 20 minutes a night, let's call it 18 to 20. It's going to be 18 to 20 at 5-on-5 or power play, not 90 seconds on the penalty kill where he's in lanes and got to block shots and all of that. That's what Duhame's going to do. That's what Sissons is going to do. Nick Paul, guys like that.
It still seems kind of weird. Weren't we like recently just talking about him being one of the best two-way players in the game, and it's now we don't want him starting in his own zone.
It's not about not wanting him to. It's which one do you want? Do you want the guy chasing 60 goals or the guy maybe chasing a Selke? Because I don't think you can have both.
I think it's a great point. Like Nick Suzuki doesn't start penalty kills. He'll play like his average penalty kill time per game is like 20 to 30 seconds because there's only so much he can exert in a game. So they're saying, we'll want you for 19 and a half minutes, mostly offensive stuff, but we want you to play against the top line. Like, I think you can have a little bit of both where it's not PK stuff and it's not always starting in your own zone. Phil Deneau can do that.
Yep.
So now that's going to be Nick Paul or Colton Sissons.
The other thing, too, is you can trust him 5-on-5 defensively in your own zone, those draws. It's just penalty kill is such a unique thing. It's, you can find the minutes for somebody else. I would much rather have that to get Austin to 5-on-5, any situation at 19 to 20 minutes. And, I think there's more of a balanced attack now. They didn't grab a bunch of scores, but I will say a guy like Roslovic is a very naturally talented
He can
player.
score, and he's got a history with Austin.
Yeah,
they played together in the U.S. development
That'll be
camp.
interesting if they play together, though, because they're both shooters.
Yeah, exactly. I don't
not
know.
playmakers.
But Roslovic is funny, and I was telling the guys this off air. If you watched him last year in Edmonton, he had the confidence to look Draisaitl off, where there's times when you're playing with a star player, it's defer to him. Hey, 2-on-1, you got to get it to that guy because that's the star. Roslovic would look whoever off and shoot. And I like that. I think he's a guy. Now, he doesn't have a great track record in the playoffs. But if this is the mantra,
which is somewhat concerning.
it's awful. He's got 3 goals in 53 games in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Not ideal.
Not ideal. But my point being is, are you better today than you were yesterday? Because if that's Michelli's spot, I'll take Roslovic every day of the week.
Can he help you get to the playoffs?
Exactly.
Yeah. Then, the jury's out on what he's going to bring.
And he's got to perform with matchups. You talk about playoff-type hockey. If you want to ride shotgun potentially with Austin Matthews, guess who you're seeing on a nightly basis?
Yeah.
Other teams'
Best team.
core.
Yep, best players.
Yeah, big.
So a lot of turnover here. Nick Paul's an interesting one. Again, like he was with the Senators. He's been with Tampa. He's played in the Atlantic his whole career. And he was a Leaf. He was trouble for the Leafs at times in the playoffs. Yeah. He's a Mississauga guy. He's 31. He's a big boy, not, the fastest skater in the league.
No, and I believe he got to Tampa Bay after they won their 2 cups. He was.
I think you might be right.
It
I think he got there
they
at 22.
signed him to like a 7-year deal at $3 million.
That's what I
or
was
whatever.
just looking up because he signed that sweetheart of a deal, and it's like, you're in Tampa, no state tax, you take a little less on the AAV.
Come on up. You're coming home.
Like, welcome to 52%.
You're coming home, Mississauga's own.
And so obviously there was no trade protection on that for the player, right? It's just like you're being traded. He's a good player. The one thing, if we lay all of this, and Joe from the Bridge put that list up, the only thing I said off air, too, was I'd like to see a couple more moves still with players that have an age that starts with 2. Because everybody on that list, I believe, outside of Andre, and Duhaime is 29. Everybody else is 31 and up. And that's, again, veteran team, but you got to get through 84 games. And that's the biggest thing. But better today. I can't wait to see if there's more. Well, there's rumblings about Werenski and,
Like, look at how much they've done here. Again, on the way out for the Maple Leafs, Joseph Walt, Dennis Hildeby, Brandon Carlo, Matthias Michelli, Nick Robertson, Simone Benoit, Samuel Urson, who never played for them. They got him in the Wall deal, or the Joseph Wall deal. But they have turned over. They have 10 new players. And that includes McKenna, who they drafted. So a draft pick and 9 acquisitions.
If like door
it's
A is
a
on
crazy
the left
amount
and
of
door
turnover.
B is on the right, no one's walking through door B.
No, exactly.
No one.
Nobody is.
That's a showcase showdown. No one's going to showcase.
Nobody's taking that. I mean, it's honestly upgrades is the risk. Yes, Bob's 38 years old. Radish is out of Tampa now.
Yeah.
You know, Gavin McKenna hasn't played a game in the league. But I look at those three in particular. The other ones are depth. But Bob, if you get 45 to 50 starts out of him, Darren Radish plays 22 minutes a night, and McKenna is chasing a Calder. I know that's all glass half full
to
stuff.
60 points, I think that's.
But those are like
reasonable
three impact
expectation.
players
Yeah.
that you've added to your roster.
You know what's going to be interesting now with that is what's the identity of the Toronto Maple Leafs? This is like a Leafs 2.0, if you want to call it that, right? Like there's a lot of new faces here. There's a lot of turnover. You still have some of the same guys. There's some like role players there.
And it's been difficult, Frankie, in years past to say what is your identity because the top guys seem to do whatever they want and the other guys were on their different programs.
Yeah.
So it was, as a team identity, it was difficult to look at the Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't think I've ever done it. Of all the games that I broadcasted, said, this is what the Leafs' identity is. Their identity the past 7 or 8 years has been, can Matthews and Marner and Nylander and Tavares score more goals than the opposition? That was kind of their team identity.
But when push came to shove, that's what it was. So, like now, what is the branding of the Toronto Maple Leafs as far as the product they put on the ice? Because that still is what you need to decide with the personnel you have.
Maybe Jim Hiller, I mean, did he not tell us on our show is like that's his job is to, identify how they want to play and push that through.
Mm-hmm.
I think the coach has to set the tempo as like, this is how we play. And whether you're Austin Matthews or you're Colton Sissons, we expect X, Y, and Z. Easier said than done, but that's the type of thing that we talk about, the culture or the identity, all these buzzwords, but it's true. What is the Toronto Maple Leafs? Well, I'd like to see a more balanced attack now. That's what we're seeing more now on that roster.
A lot of veteran forwards coming in. So if you're McKenna and Cowan, where are you fitting in all this?
I think there's a spot,
that like in two different stories. Cowan's got a league, he's got a year of pro hockey under his belt.
Gavin
McKenna
McKenna being the number 1 overall pick will get every opportunity to be a top 6 forward because that's what he is. He was just drafted first overall. This guy should be an impact player in the league as soon as he plays. This isn't like, me being a highly touted. This guy went number 1 overall with some quality players around him. Like this.
I think it's realistic for Gavin McKenna to expect the Mitch Marner first year he had. Wasn't he 60-point player in his first year in the league, or maybe he was more? I can't remember. But I think that's what
give or take.
That's kind of what he was chasing. 4th overall, 1st overall. That's a reasonable expectation. But I think if you're Easton Cowan, you could look at this one of two ways. You're scared or you're intimidated for your position in the roster, or you're like, I'm going to get surrounded by a little more help this year. Like, I'm just going to have a little more insulation around me, and as long as I do my part, I will be with guys that take care of me out there.
What's interesting here is Tampa now is moving off Nick Paul. Not a huge cap hit, and they bring in Hildeby, so I guess Vasilevsky, and Hildeby gets to learn with him. But they're a team, they traded Radish. Now they've moved off Paul. What are they up to? Are they in on Werenski?
I think they're in on Werenski.
Are they in on John Carlson?
The other thing,
something's going to give. They're not just going to cruise into the season.
I don't think there's
Tampa.
a guarantee that Hildeby is there. They've got Johansson or whatever. I butcher his name.
Jerry.
Yeah, we'll call him Jerry Johansson. Like, he's better than Hildeby for me. So we'll take that back. And because Toronto needed to move
and they gave up a couple of picks. The Leafs gave up a couple of draft
they
picks.
probably needed to move that player out. And you can take your chances on whether you lose Hildeby on waivers or not. There's going to be some really good goaltenders on waivers here because teams have 3 and they're not going to make it through. I think, did I see Korpisalo get traded?
Yeah, he went to the Rangers.
Okay, so you are going to see because Mikey DiPietro is going to make Boston this year. There are some goaltenders still floating around out there that are going to sign this summer. So waiver wire after training camp is going to be active. I wouldn't be shocked to see Hildeby on waivers as opposed to Johansson, but maybe I'm wrong on that.
Sounds like Vinny Trocheck has been traded to Utah.
Yeah.
So I don't know what New York's doing. I have
no plan.
I have no idea what they're doing. They picked up Korpisalo. They have Shesterkin, so you've got him.
Dorofeyev for $11 million.
Like it's a lot of Russian
Oliver
players.
Bjorkstrand. I'm like,
1 year at 5. Wasn't it?
I don't know what they're trying to do.
I don't know.
But Utah is an interesting one.
Oh yeah.
Like Utah made the playoffs, and Trocheck he's a playoff guy.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Like that's that division, that Western Conference.
Yeah, if Tampa
pretty good teams out
unloaded
there.
Bjorkstrand, they don't have Radish and Paul. They're
something's percolating in Tampa.
I would think so. Like again, this is where I mean, we'll be talking about it in September when the dust settles, where you're like, oh, that looked weird early on in the start of the summer, and now it's all come into fruition of what this is going to look like.
It has been crazy in the league the last couple of weeks. You're right. I mean,
I'll, after 10 years,
vindicated.
I was like,
100% valid, Noodles.
But
because
I love it.
It has been crazy, and like we're into a point now where we're breaking down other. Like Vinny Trocheck was on that U.S. team, right? Again, that's not. I don't think that's why he's out of New York. It sounds like the Rangers.
I didn't think he wanted
him.
to go anywhere.
I'm not sure he did either, but
He had to agree to go to Utah.
yeah, you're right. And ultimately he did. I mean, maybe it got to a point where he realized it's not tenable. They don't want me. It's going to get ugly
they're
here.
not good anyways. Like Utah is a really exciting team right now. I think if you were offered to be a part of that, you're like, that's a good operation. I can see myself a part of.
But like Larkin's still out there, Werenski's still out there, Hellebuck's still out there. Like those are three monsters that still might be traded between now and training camp.
Could be traded by
the time we get off the air.
By 6 o'clock. Yeah, you
like
don't
Darnell
know.
Nurse on his way to San Jose. We'll see what happens with Morgan Riley.
I don't think Stevie Yzerman's he's not in a hurry to make that transaction, I'll tell you what. Just because the guy said, get me out of here, and these are the 4 teams.
Yeah.
I don't think Stevie Y.
I think, he's not going to allow like Bill Guerin to take advantage of him.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
No, but the most fascinating one for me is the noise around Werenski. Because, first of all, when I heard that he gonged a trade to Dallas, I said, are you insane?
It's beside myself.
But, like, I was like, that's got to be a typo. Like, the Dallas Stars might be one of the most young, exciting. I don't know what the hell that beeping is.
Something's going
on. I thought it was my
good.
phone.
Something's going on.
JP left his laptop.
Exactly. But Dallas is one of the most young, exciting teams in the league, and they are getting better and better and better. And Werenski to play with Heiskanen, like that's Pronger
and Niedermayer.
Like
those are two of the best defensemen in the league.
And he's like, I'm good. No, I'm good. Like,
yeah, there's a better situation for me out there than the Dallas Stars. Like, think about place to live. Place to play, team.
Tax. Team, like it checks all the boxes.
Something. I mean, again, some guys are like, I don't want to play in the West for whatever reason. It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me. I'm not disagreeing with you.
No, you're right though.
And it does also feel like I think Rick Bowness pissed him off personally. Like Rick Bowness did an interview immediately and said, I don't know what this guy's doing. He looked me in the eyes and said he's sticking around. Not too happy. And I'm like, Rick, like he couldn't care less about anything, Rick Bowness. And I kind of got that impression that Werenski and his camp maybe were like, screw these guys.
Yeah.
Which I don't empathize with them. If they went to Columbus 2 years out and said, we're not signing with you, what do you expect a team to do?
Yeah.
Of course they're going to have a reaction. But something's weird about that because you're right. Like Dallas, and if you're Thomas Harley, he's getting the Matthew Nyes treatment now.
I talked about Nyes being like, hang on a sec here. I committed to you guys, and I'm sitting here listening to this all summer. If I'm sitting back having a beer on my deck at my cottage, and if I'm Harley, I'm like, so I would have been thrown in.
You
there.
were the guy.
I talked about the loyalty.
Better.
Oh, yeah, Harley, we love you. You're our number one D-man. Oh, hang on a sec. There's somebody else out there that we want to sniff around on.
I don't know how you make that work anymore.
That goes back to the whole Brady Tkachuk thing, doesn't it? Like, if a team can be ruthless and make a trade, they have no apologies, will do it. And you know what? Every once in a while, a player says, I'm going to do the exact same thing. Because Thomas Harley didn't ask to leave.
No, he didn't.
The Dallas Stars, we're going to trade him for Zach Werenski.
Does he hate on Werenski more, or does he hate on Dallas? Like
you're hating on Dallas because they were willing to give up. Like, to say, you're the guy that's going.
But you're also kind of like, really, Werenski? Now it's out there that you nixed the deal.
It's human nature for the player to say, so you think that much of me? I thought I was such a big part of this team, but I was going to be the guy leaving this team.
Yeah.
It's hard to get out of your head, man.
And to Columbus, where a lot of players are just not loving it.
Well,
right
it's fair. When I heard that news, but I think there's just way more behind the scenes. Rick Bowness's comments at the end of the season were the most damning ones, where he's like, these guys are fine with losing in that dressing room.
Yeah.
Like, he flat out said that, did he not?
Yes, no, he was.
They are comfortable losing.
Yep.
And was deadpan faced looking at the camera.
I think if you had heart to heart with Rick, he might want that one back.
Well, hey, listen, I get it, but I think a lot of those, Werenski had to come out and say, we hate to lose here.
Yeah.
Like I think Boone Jenner said that same thing. Jenner's in Washington.
Yeah, he just signed in
Patrick
Washington.
Laine had some comments too, like when he made the return to Columbus. I can't remember what he said. It was something they were just playing. Or
Yeah, those
like
guys just played.
They just play.
Win or
And
lose, they were fine.
Werenski had really harsh words
pissed.
back to Laine.
Yeah, but okay. My point being is that's yes. Okay,
I know.
I get it. But at the end of the day, if you've got multiple people saying the same thing, there's some smoke there at some point.
Yep. Sure.
You know, maybe it's just a country club there. Maybe guys don't
Torts
show.
leave too? Did Torts was like, check please. I'm good here.
I just look at it as Columbus is in a tough spot right now. But where is this going? Is Tampa trying to put together a package and clear money out so that they can bring in Werenski? Werenski's linked to the Leafs, or I don't know.
Yep.
Now he's saying that
Well,
he'll
now
stay.
maybe he's willing to stay, according to Dregs. So Dregs coming up in about a half an hour. All right, Frankie. Thanks for doing this, buddy.
Boys,
Great seeing you. Have a great summer.
Great job
stuff.
today, buddy. You felt good out in there. You
Felt
were
phenomenal.
rocking
Wow,
it.
How was
best-
he off the?
best
I
in the
thought he was a
business.
little stiff to start the show.
Yeah, a little bit out of the
I
gate.
thought you
Loosened
were
up.
fantastic.
Well,
I
he was
really
great.
proud of you, pal.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He
Thank
was
you.
great, but I thought you were like you were. I don't know.
You know, here's the truth. I was not nervous at all.
Not at all.
I get more nervous. I have been nervous when I've been the standoff panel that Duffy's throwing to you because you're not in the mix. And then like an hour into it, Duffy's like, who is that? Oh, it's Hayes is coming up. And you're like, oh, God, I better.
Hayes and Frankie are
Yeah,
standing
it's
over there.
literally me and Frankie.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, we better have something to say here because like we haven't
100%.
done anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're in the back and just talking with people and eating. And
My favorite part of the whole show
it's totally different.
was when Skinner cut out.
Oh, yeah.
Because he had a look. He was looking for Doogie
I'm like,
to yell
Doogie,
at.
JP, Joe. I knew. I'm like, OverDrive.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was good.
You
It
were
was,
awesome
it was a
today.
good
Oh, we had a
day.
great time. It
You
was
were
great.
great, buddy. There was some stuff happening at the buffet we'll talk about, but there was a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff happening today.
Like there was a silhouette of like a couple.
There was a
few things.
video.
I heard about someone at
There was a video of a guy eating.
Who is that?
I don't know who that is.
Was that you?
I was having lunch like everyone else. I don't know.
There is like a hidden camera of somebody.
Oh wow! If
I
there's
got
a
that
hidden
in a
camera
group
there,
chat.
there's other people that got caught doing stuff that could have been very troubling at
was.
that.
I have
buffet
the
table.
standard roast beef, carrots, and potatoes.
I
I don't know
didn't see
why that
video.
needs to
You know
be
what's
on
amazing
videotape.
about you though is like Cheryl never left the whole time.
Sat there the whole time.
Whole time. Johnny never left. I would look over and you'd be gone. Like 10 minutes in, I'm like, oh, he's out.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, you just
I
gotta
had
have a
one
little break.
bathroom break and I took a lunch break. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's reasonable.
I
didn't move the whole time.
I loitered
move the
around
whole
the whole
time.
time and had stop and chats.
It makes you appreciate Douthty. Like Trade Center, we're on at 8 a.m. We get off the air at like 6. He doesn't move that. He does not move.
He takes one bathroom break.
One, and he runs and comes back, and
Yeah.
then he's standing and he's moving.
It was
it's
awesome.
incredible.
Outside of
Anyway,
it being
okay, boys.
38 degrees.
That was great stuff. It was
Yeah.
very warm. Very warm. But there's more coming in. I'll bet you before 6 o'clock. Dregs will join us in half an hour. Good seeing you, Frankie. There's Frankie Corrado. OverDrive continues up on YouTube Live.
Catch every moment from every match on TSN.ca and the TSN app.
Tonight,
This is the moment.
on TSN 1050, the round of 32 rolls on with the United States facing off against Bosnia-Herzegovina. Coverage starts at 8 p.m.
World's biggest stage.
Hear it all on TSN 1050. The FIFA World Cup 2026 lives here. Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, OverDrive continues, powered by FanDuel. Got Darren Dreger coming up. The World Cup continuing. England kind of escaped today,
They were
but
down
they ended up
one
winning.
club, right?
Yeah, they were down 1-0. Belgium's losing right now, 1-0 to Senegal. These European teams aren't doing great. And the Americans, we'll see, because Mexico rolled last night. They played really well. So Canada's through, Mexico's through. We'll see if the States wins tonight. But now, like, the spotlight's on them, right? You're the host. Mexico's in. Canada's in. What do you have?
Yeah.
Bosnia's a pretty good team. We saw it in the opening match against Canada. So, yeah, we got a lot going on. Obviously, baseball happening throughout the world. We got Wimbledon going on. We got Kawhi, who's going to be here in about 5 days, we think. Raptors
Still
make
scares me
another
that
signing.
5-day delay.
The buffer?
Yeah.
I think he's. I mean, what's your percentage on him?
100%. It's done.
You're
The
100%
deal's-
that it's
the
done.
deal is you can't go back on the deal now.
You
Look,
don't think-
ultimately,
It's
he
done.
was like a great player here. He was the main dude in the. But do you think there was something with that scandal with the tree planting company that the league or who somebody said, like, you might want to go north of the border and get out of here so we don't have to go through the details of this with you and Baumler? Part of me thinks there could be something to that.
I think on both sides. I think it's more likely Ballmer and the Clippers were like, we have to cut bait with you.
Yeah, we got it.
We got caught red-handed. We were paying you in tree money, and it's embarrassing, and we can't sign you again.
Yeah, I think Baumler might have been told, like, this is over, because you know that guy. He's a lunatic.
Yeah.
And he was so pot committed to Kawhi Leonard. Why would he discontinue that?
Yeah.
There had to have been something where it was like, you might need to go
I
north.
think there's a chance the league is like, we'll go softer on you as long as he isn't around.
Yeah, you're not in our face and
Yeah.
embarrassing us.
Now, why he chose Toronto is a different story. I don't know if we'll get that answer because Kawhi is not huge on press conferences and really revealing what's going on.
I wouldn't shock me if there wasn't even one.
There may not be. Yeah, just Bobby Webster.
It'll be
and
like,
Darko
I
up
already
there.
played here once. I
Yeah,
don't
you
need a press
guys, we
conference.
got the gist of it. I came up here. You guys kind of know what's going on.
Yeah. Well,
Number
he's-
2, I'll see you when I
he's
get there.
comfortable here. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
Hey, listen, it's a feather in the cap for the Raptors.
Yeah.
And they gave up, a couple of unpredicted picks in 31 and 33. But what has become clear, in the NBA for quite some time, and it's very clear in the NHL, is, it's very difficult to have a 5-year plan anymore.
No.
Because there's so much changing, and ultimately with the NHL and the star players flipping on a dime, how can you plan? Like if let's say you're Ottawa 2 years ago, your 5-year plan is Kachuk, Stützle, Sanderson, right? We got all these guys coming up, and Shabbat's going to be here, and we're going to sign Pinto and
All marked on
Batherson.
term,
And,
yeah.
It's almost like if you're not
Travis
going
Green.
scorched earth, you got to try to find a way to put a competitive team and hope your star players stay, and maybe you put it together.
In a couple of years.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later, Brady's like, check, please, I'm out of here. They're
Yeah.
like, oh,
Actually, I'm
okay,
good.
well, then that changes our plan, in terms of not completely, but the same thing in Columbus. If Werenski's like, check, please, I'm out. Good. Who cares what you thought you were doing
Well, do
a
you know
year
how many
ago?
times Columbus has had a plan with growing with players? Seth Jones, Johansson, this guy, Bobrovsky, Werenski, Rick Nash, and it's been derailed.
Yeah.
You know why? Because guys say, I want out.
I want out. And like you look at the Maple Leafs, all the action they've done.
Yeah.
Matthews is here and he's playing. And I think a lot of it was to make him feel better about the situation. Him and Jack Roslovic have a long-standing career. Bob's got him twice in the playoffs,
Yeah.
right? Like at a minimum, you look at Bob, wheels might fall off. Maybe this year, maybe next year. But there's some pedigree that walks in your room when Bob walks
They're
in.
better.
Radish
Yes.
is here. And there's other guys that I think he knows that he's familiar with.
Look
And
at
I'm
Joe from the bridge going to work.
I know Joe has projected the roster. This is, I believe, courtesy of Joe from the bridge.
I do too. This is his view of what's going on next year.
Yeah. So he is moving pieces around, and we'll see. I mean, Nick Paul's here, Colton Sissons, Brandon Duhaime.
Hold on a second. He's got Teddy Bluger on the 5th. Bluger is not. He's in the lineup,
playing.
and Brandon Duhaime is too high in that lineup.
Yeah.
Duhaime had 4 goals last year. He's not playing third line.
He's a
playing
fourth line crasher and banger
So,
that's going to skate and work hard.
Bluger is playing, and he's either a winger in your third or fourth line.
I kind of like what Joe from the bridge has done here, though. It's nice work. On the fly?
It's not bad. He's
do it
even
on the
adjusted the
fly.
goaltenders, right? Bob into Stolars into Akhtiamov.
Bang on.
That's pretty good.
It looks good. The middle part is still a work in progress for me. And I'm talking
the
McCabe,
defense?
Riley, Andre, Radish, Tanev, Ekman, Larson, Stetcher.
Well, Radish is here, committed, going to play.
Yes.
Tanev, I have no idea what to
I
expect.
don't think
out of him.
anybody does.
And that is a legitimate question. And honestly, I love him as a player. I have the utmost respect for him. I'm sure he's going to show up to camp and say, I feel like $1 million.
Right.
I will believe it when I see him play.
Correct.
And not just a few games, 20 games, 30 games. You're like, okay, he's actually back. He had serious medical issues, not just nicks and bruises, bad. He was like medically in a very bad place in terms of missing games, being stretchered off the ice,
like that.
Multiple concussions in
Very
rapid succession.
To the point where people were not concerned about career. You're just concerned about
his
him.
livelihood.
Right.
Exactly. About him like living in the person. Exactly.
Person.
So there is a huge question mark around Tanev.
Yeah.
And then, McCabe, Riley, and Ekman Larson, those are the three for me. I can't picture Morgan Riley returning. I just don't know what the market is. I don't get the impression that Chaika is willing to eat any of the money. And quite frankly, the fact that San Jose just acquired Darnell Nurse and Edmonton didn't have to eat any money, why would you eat money?
I know, but if you're only
Chaika?
all in on it's crazy to think you're only all in on one team because San Jose claims they need defensemen.
What I'm saying is Edmonton, I think somewhat miraculously, did not have to eat any of Darnell Nurse's contract.
Yeah.
Like they flipped him to San Jose and there's no retention.
But they're happy with it.
No, I know that. But what I'm saying is if you're John Chaika, and let's say teams are saying, I'll take Morgan Riley, but you got to eat $2 million.
Yeah, you go.
He's like,
good.
well, they didn't for Darnell Nurse.
Right.
So I wonder if that is the holdup right now. It's not that they can't find a team that would be willing to take him. It's not that the Leafs are maybe holding out for value back. It's that the other teams are like, you got to chew on $1.5 million. He's got to be a $6 million.
If you look at the contract that Trouba just signed, he signed for $8 million on a multi-year deal.
Right.
If Morgan Riley was an unrestricted free agent, don't you think the number that would be attached to him today would be a 7 anyway?
It might be 4 years, 7.5, which is what he has.
That's exactly right.
What's the team you have in mind?
Anaheim. They need veteran D. I'm looking at Lacombe, Helson, Mintyukov, Moore, Hins, and Nick Jensen. They just signed, who would probably be their 6. So do you need veteran D in that lineup on a team that's trying to get better? Morgan Riley doesn't have to come in to be your 1. That's Lacombe. Lacombe's a really good defenseman. He's going to be a hell of a defenseman.
Yeah, and he's your number 1
right now.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is they need, just like San Jose. San Jose's like, no problem. We want Darnell Nurse. We'll take the 9.25. We can afford it because we need a veteran D. Jacob Trouba, here's 8.25. 4 years, no problem, because we want a veteran D to help. Anaheim just lost Trouba, Gudis. Who else? There's somebody else. I thought they lost 3.
Carlson.
John Carlson. You've got to fill that hole. To me, I'm calling the Toronto Maple Leafs and saying, what is Morgan Riley's trade value? What? Now, keep in mind, I'm bullish on this. You're not getting rid of Morgan Riley for just the sake of getting rid of him. And I know the fan base would have a different argument with me. Morgan Riley, if slotted properly, is a good defenseman.
But he's not going to be on this team right now.
Correct. But I'm just saying that. That's why I believe that decor is still a work in progress. We're 1 day into free agency.
And listen, Werenski changes everything.
100%.
But that's a grand slam that I don't know how likely it is to happen because if it's Riley, if it's McCabe, if it's Ekman Larson, none of them are number one defense, like top pair defensemen. One of them is going to play those minutes because they're going to play on the left side.
Yep.
If Tanev's healthy, Tanev's going to play. Radish is going to play. If Tanev's healthy, it's huge, like really huge. If he can get back to 2 years ago, I don't know if he can. If he does, Radish and Tanev as your two right shot defensemen in your top four, I'm really good with that. Like that is really quality production you're going to get. It's the left side that's none of them are close to being guys that you can rely on as number one guys. So, but again, pie in the sky. That's where if you could slot Werenski in, push McCabe down, push Riley down, it changes the whole calibration of the team, and honestly, probably the projection of what they can do next year. Like immediately, if you add Bob, Radish, Werenski, McKenna, no team in the league is close in terms of the amount of impact that they would have on their respective.
Yeah, I've always thought
that is a huge offseason.
I've always thought you could make a reasonable turnaround with 3 positive impact player transactions. And you just mentioned that would be potentially 4 with key players.
Game changers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like get number one defenseman, number 2 defenseman, number 1 goalie, top 6
those
winger.
3.
Like that's outrageous what that would represent.
Yes, and what they need to do is, I think what they're trying to do is make the playoffs next year and push themselves right back into the battle in the Atlantic. A lot of these moves today will help. That's the way I look at it.
Well, yeah, and listen, other teams are still doing stuff, right? Like, Florida has done a lot. They signed Radko Gudas today to a 6-year deal. Everyone gets one down there.
Cautionary tale is the Vancouver Canucks. Someone on the panel mentioned how much money they spent last year.
Yes,
in free agency.
Johnny, more than any other team, and they were dead last in the league.
And I think a lot of it was to kind of appease Quinn Hughes to say, we're going to be good. We're going to get you Demko back. We're going to keep Besser for you. We're going to get this guy. We're going to get that guy. And it just went up in smoke in training camp.
Yep.
So it's a cautionary tale because it resembles a little bit like that. I'm not saying that's going to happen. It's a cautionary tale.
Yeah, and listen, a lot of the Leaf moves, Bob and Radish notwithstanding, a lot of them 2-year deals. Links up with Matthews coming up. Right. They're in a 2-year window. That's what they're in right now. Werenski has 2 years left on his deal if they could find a way to acquire him.
The thing is to acquire him, which would be a game changer.
It's going to cost you a lot.
It's going to cost you people off that roster.
Yep, for sure. Okay, Darren Dreger coming up. Recap on what he saw today and what is still expected to happen here. We got Patrick Kane still out there. We've got Claude Giroux still out there. There's a lot of big names that are still available. John Carlson has not made a decision yet. So what else can we see happening? And he can put a bow on Werenski, Hellebuck, Larkin, some of these big names who may or may not have requested a trade out of their respective markets. OverDrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.
Tonight.
This is the moment.
On TSN 1050, the round of 32 rolls on with the United States facing off against Bosnia-Herzegovina. Coverage starts at 8 p.m.
World's biggest stage.
Hear it all on TSN 1050. The FIFA World Cup 2026 lives here. Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, Greg's coming up into the next hour. We're going to do a little arbitration today as well, right? A Leafs, Raptors, Blue Jay arbitration, which I think is appropriate on a day like today.
Fair enough.
Right? Like arbitration's happening throughout the NHL. So we'll get to that. We're tracking the Jays. We're tracking the World Cup. And tomorrow, downtown, go time, Portugal, Croatia, 7 p.m.
You think there's just, you figure out where they're staying. There'll be fans just hanging outside the hotel.
Listen, you talk about Ronaldo cruising around Yorkville. Do you know how many people are going to be down there looking for that guy?
Oh, my God. They will be looking for that guy.
Yeah. Literally just him.
Yeah.
And it will be a circus.
They're going to be thinking he's going to sneak into that stinky sassafras on the corner in Yorkville and go
I
for
love
a
that
podcast.
He might. It's a good place.
I love that place.
It's a good place. All right, Drake's coming up on a crazy free agent frenzy. Bunch of names still on the board. What does he see happening? What does he make all the Leaf moves? The Leafs have been more active than any team in the league. Could they be more active still into the future? That and more coming up in hour 2. OverDrive continues up on YouTube Live.
the country comes together once more for the most important match in men's national team history.
It's Eustachio!
FIFA World Cup round of 16, Canada, Morocco, on TSN CTVN's Crave.
The Toronto Tempo live on TSN. Every pass, every point, every moment, live. Instacart Tempo Basketball on TSN.
This is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Hey. Whoa. Hey. Hey.
Hour 2 Overdrive continues, powered by FanDuel, up on TSN 1050, up on TSN 2, up on YouTube Live. Soon to be streaming up on Crave. Brian Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan, and Darren Dreger, our TSN Hockey Insider, in studio. What's happening, Dregs?
Feels like I've been bobbing for fries for the last 5 hours.
How hot was it in there?
The suit might survive.
Nothing else.
Nothing.
What do you think on the squeegee level of the underpants as opposed to years past? What kind of materials are we going to get out of those things?
Nothing. Like, nothing.
Survival rate,
Nothing.
0%.
No, so I'm driving west. I'm starting to trek out to the cabin tomorrow morning.
Nice.
At some point tomorrow morning. So because of that, you know, you're basically in summer mode. You can't have an ongoing bag of garbage. So we've got a garbage established. That'll be the last thing that gets dropped off before we head out.
Dude, I don't believe
Guess
in
what's going
littering,
in.
but with those things, I think you get in the North Country north of like Timmins and you just float those into the woods and let the sun beat down on them and do its thing and they'll erode naturally.
Be a bear wearing them.
I mean, I'm going to put a little money down that as bad as mine might be, they're probably not the worst in that room.
No, there was some people
undershorts.
fighting it today, like fighting the heat.
So hot in there. I was saying they had air conditioning going. They just had too many people in the room.
Yeah.
So it
No,
was
dude,
sucking
I'm
it up.
sorry. That's a lie, Jamie. That air conditioning did not work. You notice how in here it's just a cool
Yeah,
environment?
it's kind of normal in here.
That was a sauna in there.
Yeah, it was outrageous. But the activity eventually happened, right?
Yeah.
So I'm curious, Dregs. Does your mind go to what has happened, or do you kind of lean towards what hasn't? And what I mean by that is Werenski, Hellebuck, Larkin. Like, those are three big names, and they're still on their respective teams.
That's where I'm drawn to. For me, it doesn't matter what's already happened. You know, other than the Oilers making the Darnell Nurse trade and not having to retain any money on that deal.
You surprised by that?
I was surprised by that. I mean, that's decent work, I think, by Stan Bowman on a couple of fronts. Number one,
Did they have to expand his trade to get
they
this?
did.
Yeah.
So San Jose
By one, San Jose.
and it worked.
And it worked. And, you know, Bowman was grinding through the draft, working with the 3-team list that Nurse had submitted. And you just get to a point where
It's not working.
it's not working, and you're exhausting yourself trying to bang your head against the wall. So, you know, kudos to Darnell and Paul Capizano for recognizing, all right, it's the best case scenario for Darnell, who requested the trade, to expand by at least one or two teams so that you can get something going. That happened, and that's what happened. So now, you know, you're curious, okay, well, how is Bowman going to reinvest that money? You know, you can look at the free agent pool. You know, I don't have the remaining list in front of me. There's some interesting pieces, but not many that would move the needle per se, but it puts you in the other stratosphere of actually being able to have a trade conversation
trades,
without somebody. Now, the other thing to consider here is, you know, the Oilers' cupboard isn't entirely bare, but unless you're pecking apart at their roster, what are you using as trade collateral now? You have the cap space, which is huge because they didn't have that. So I wonder about that. And then, Brian, to your point, hey, like, look at the work that John Chayka and the Leafs did. And I know you guys have talked at length about this. He's not done yet.
Yeah.
He's not done.
How much more can he possibly do? He's brought in 10 new players.
Remarkable. Clearly didn't like the look of the roster that he
Nor
inherited.
should he have.
No,
Right.
no. I mean, it didn't win. And this is, I mean, we use the R words, and in this case, sure, it's a retool, but it goes beyond that. You know, you're trying to win. You're trying to be super competitive because you want to look beyond the Austin Matthews inevitability of next year or the year after. That's what you're trying to sell to Austin, not just the fan base. So irons in the fire, it's hard to get a read on it. We started the day as part of our free agent frenzy talking about, well, what if they can acquire Zach Werenski, right? Okay, then at the end of the day, we're reporting that, well, Werenski had a conversation with Donnie Waddell and the agent, Judd Moldaver, and they want to calm things down, right? Get it back on the rails, which means take some heat off Werenski, and because he might have to go back into that Columbus dressing room, right? Okay, but
I
does
don't
that
think you
mean,
can take that heat off, Darren.
it's tough, right? But does that mean that a trade scenario is no longer an option? And I'm not prepared to slam the door on that yet. So, who is it?
Tampa's clearing some space.
Some space, yeah.
The Leafs have more room.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that would be extreme, but if they can pull it off, I mean,
more likely than not, that doesn't happen.
What doesn't happen?
That Werenski isn't traded. Okay. But then you get into that dangerous world if you're Columbus here. And look, I mean, maybe it's been mishandled, right? But now Werenski holds the cards entirely. So if Columbus isn't a very good team next year, things aren't going well. Donnie Waddell comes to him at the trade deadline and says, well, we have X, Y, Z. Which one of those pieces works for you? Yeah, that doesn't work for me. Mm-hmm. No, I'm good. Yeah. I'm good. And then you're facing free agency after that. So
it just, the weird thing about it is there's just so much noise. You don't know. Again, we're not in those rooms or not anything. There's just, something doesn't seem right, with the Columbus and the Werenski situation, all of that.
Marchenko, go down the list.
Marchenko, also Bonus's comments, Patrick Laine's comment, there's something's amiss there in Columbus.
Yeah, it seems that way. I mean, the way they played down the stretch, their history in general, they just haven't had any success. But obviously, Chaika does not seem to care about that, care about Rick Bonus's comments, or
right,
you were saying earlier today, the Leafs are going to try to make that work. Mm-hmm. How come? What would be, a line too far for Chaika in terms of acquiring Werenski? Let's say hypothetically he's like, right, you know what, I'm out, and Toronto's a spot. I want to go there. If Columbus can feel like they've been compensated appropriately, what do you think Chaika is comfortable with?
Hold on, might have a trade here.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think that's the when
you go ahead, Noodles. They do have.
No, I was just saying that I don't know. Johnny made the point on the panel, and this is kind of what it made sense. If Zach Werenski's available, you probably have two players.
Tell me, he just got traded.
No. In fact, Vegas has made a deal.
Okay.
Keegan Colasar goes to the Detroit Red Wings for a third-round pick in 29. And a 7th-round pick in 27.
I like that.
More management
player. Yeah. I like him. He's a
hard player. Scratched him in Game 6.
Yeah. But that's interesting because now they've moved off Dorofeev. Mm-hmm. They've moved off Colasar. What else is Vegas doing?
Do they need to clear money?
Is Pietrangelo coming back? Are they concerned about that?
No, that was a rumor.
I read that online.
I think it was quickly debunked. Vegas can be a tough read because they do so many things, with the cards tight to the vest. But they're always up to something, similarly to what Florida is doing. I've been trying to peck around, could Dylan Larkin be a fit there? But, again, now, Yzerman couldn't have been more clear in saying that we're not trading this guy because he wants to go to a place where he can win. If we trade Dylan Larkin, it's
to
make
best
the Detroit
Red
Wings better.
I agree.
So how do you make that work?
Does Stevie say? Just see you in training camp, pal?
Pretty much.
I think that might come down to it, where he just says, see you in training camp.
And if you're not in training camp, then guess what happens?
Suspended.
You don't get paid.
Yeah. I want to come back to that, what Johnny said on the panel, because I think it was interesting. If Zach Werenski is available to you, say he wants to come to Toronto or to Tampa, you're trying to work out that deal. There's probably one or two guys that are off the board going the other way, if you're Toronto.
Yeah.
That's probably McKenna and Matthews, really, because McKenna just got here and Matthews is your quarter. And you have to entertain that. Like, I know
totally
people
agree.
are like, oh, nice. And,
I'm all in on getting Werenski. They've made up their mind. They had two options, the Leafs. You either blow it up and say, we tried for a decade, it's not going to work, or you go the direction they're going in. They have chosen this direction. So if you are living in a 2-year window, which is what they're doing, Zach Werenski is the most impactful player you can get. Mm-hmm. Nobody more impactful than that.
There's only two more impactful defensemen in the whole league.
Yeah, Hughes and McCarr, the only two.
So when you guys look at what Chaika has done now with his roster, and he's brought in some interesting forwards, right? Some interesting. I mean, I happen to be a Nick Paul fan.
So am I. They're better today.
He's a heavy guy, and you know that's the kind of game we had Craig Berube in studio. I mean, he would have killed for a player like Nick Paul or more players like him. And I reported on this early in the day. Like, interesting, the conversations that Columbus and Toronto had. I'm sure Don Waddell was going, well, I'd sure like Matthew Nyes to be a part of this, but there was a way that he wouldn't have been part of that. So did you get enough to this point with potentially more coming, where if Columbus is willing to re-engage, Toronto reconsiders that position? Or does Matthews and all these pieces now that they brought in, because they're going to be competitive next year, do they view Nyes as being too big a piece of their potential success this season to be part of that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would argue the latter, but
yeah,
you're also talking about a Norris Trophy winner.
That's thing.
That's been established.
They don't get it. They don't become available very often. Stuart Skinner signs in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
What does that mean for Connor Hellebuck and the Jets?
Well, I mean, as soon as we announced the trade, the follow-up essentially was, let's not dig too deep or read too much into Stu Skinner coming into the mix here. Meaning, there's not an imminent trade involving Connor Hellebuck, but this one still has that feel to it, doesn't it? As soon as a player has that conversation, again, magnitude of the guys that we've talked about, and Hellebuck is right up there with the elite, right? I mean, put him in that Werenski category, players who just move the needle in a big, big way, future Hall of Famer. When he comes out and says what he said at the end of the year, and I don't believe that he has relented from that position even a little bit.
But did he in fact go to the management, Dregs, and say, I want to be moved out of Winnipeg?
I don't believe it was as matter of fact as that. At least nobody has shared that information to that degree with me officially, but I think the messaging in it was pretty clear. Yeah, like if there's a fit. Now, again, we talked about it on air. Like, Hellebuck provided a pretty lengthy list, but, if there's 20 teams on that list and 15 of them have decent goaltenders or a number one, then you've shortened your trade list in a hurry, right?
Name me teams that need, not want, that need. Jersey and Buffalo, probably, if you can.
There's Jamie, you might as well shorten it, just while we're talking about the compensation for Werenski. You almost have to name me the teams that can put together a package to get him.
100%, because Werenski has 2 years left on his deal. Hellebuck has 5.
Right.
Like, there's at 8.5, there's cost certainty for a Hart Trophy winner right there.
I was keeping a tight eye on what the Rangers are doing with Trocheck, because I think Vinny Trocheck wanted to go to Buffalo and has wanted to go to Buffalo all the way through this process. And I think that links back to going into the draft weekend with all the talk between Winnipeg and Buffalo over that 4th pick, UPL, and then other pieces. Well, the other pieces were either the big defenseman, the prospect Mertka,
okay, yeah,
or I think potentially Norris. I'm not entirely sure of that. So for me, if Trocheck had gone to Buffalo at any point, maybe today, which he didn't, he went to Utah, then my spidey senses would have ratcheted up again to go, okay, hold on a minute here. Buffalo is circling back on Hellebuck. The other team to watch here, and no different than Yzerman. You want to do this as amicably as possible. No different than Yzerman. Cheveldayoff's looking at Connor Hellebuck's contract. Bud, you're under contract through 2031. So worst case scenario is we can't find an acceptable trade, a return back for you. Okay, it's Connor Hellebuck and it's Stu Skinner.
Yeah, $12 million.
That's what it'll be. But Carolina is another team to keep an eye on in connection to Hellebuck. They've been steady on that.
Is there any scenario, because when I watched Hellebuck's media at the end of the year, It's a competitive guy saying it sucks that we didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I want a better team. Is there anything tied to Recheveldayoff is like, I'm not going to nibble around the edges here. I'm going all in on player X, Y, and Z because it's Niederreiter, it's Nemestikov, it's guys like that,
They
good
haven't
players.
acquired anybody so
But that's
far,
what I'm
though.
saying. And like, at any point, is there, Chevy where he puts his hands up and says, okay, I'm going to give you the team to try and win back that President's Trophy that we won 2 years ago so that you are happy in this scenario.
Well, and that is an option that has to be considered.
Right.
But what is good enough to the eyes of Connor Hellebuck? And we don't know that.
Okay.
We don't know that. Same agent represents Stu Skinner and Connor Hellebuck.
Yeah.
Ray Petkow. Not that that matters, but maybe it helps a little bit if you've got that pairing. But, they've got Cole Perfetti, who's a restricted free agent, so they've got to get that
him done.
worked through. They keep talking about some of the kids. Bjork is going to likely play in the National Hockey League. He's not a centerman, but he's a capable player. So they do have some interesting internal pieces, but it feels like there's a lot more that would have to be done to get to that place where Hellebuck is happy again. But if you don't have a deal, what choice does he have? He doesn't have to be happy. He just has to, stop the puck.
Right. Claude Giroux, what do you see happening here? It's interesting in Ottawa. Brady's out. Claude's been there a few years. Pretty heavy hitter. Pretty loud guy.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like he's going back to Ottawa. What do you see happening with Giroux, and how is Ottawa kind of recalibrating after a crazy couple of weeks?
Yeah, there would have been ample conversation with Giroux from Steve Staios and the Ottawa Senators, whether or not their negotiations got to a level where he felt was fair or respectful. Obviously not, or they probably get a deal done. But how old is Giroux? 38.
Yes.
You're at a stage where if he doesn't think he can win in Ottawa, then why wouldn't he consider what other options could be available?
I bet you somebody's going to pay him, too. I don't think he's going anywhere on some cheap deal.
He had a pretty good year last year.
He
Like
did.
numbers-wise, and you saw him, Noodles. He can
did.
still play.
He can. But this is where I think a lot of managers and people get themselves into trouble. You fall in love with players and that, and eventually Father Time comes for everybody.
Yeah.
Does the contract that he wanted going to match where he would fit in the lineup? This is a guy who's played top six. Now he might not be a top six just based on where you are. So are you better served to take that money and go, hey, we're going to try and find a younger Claude Giroux somewhere else?
Yeah.
That's the hardest part because you have to remove emotion. Certainly you want to keep a great leader, a guy who's from there, took a hometown discount technically for the 3-year deal at $6 million or whatever it was. But now you're through that deal.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next deal look like? Is it something a 3 or a 4 just based on his age?
Yeah. I mean, keep hearing about Philadelphia.
That'd be
kind
cool
of
to
the
go back
emotional
there.
return of Claude Giroux and all that. So we'll see.
Okay.
But, I mean, there's been a fair bit of criticism around the Ottawa Senators, fair or unfair. Mm-hmm. That kind of comes with the territory when the best player, one of the best players on your team, is no longer there and basically forced his way out. So where they're at.
One of the first topics we got into today was Demidov signing an extension in Montreal, 8 years at like $9.1 million.
Yeah.
So Hudson signed long term. Demidov, Suzuki, Caulfield, Slavkovsky.
Crazy.
They've got Dobish and Fowler under control for years. Cooley's locked up. They just locked up Matheson.
Yeah.
Kapanen's on an entry-level deal. Had a really good year as a rookie.
They moved out Gallagher.
Moved out Gallagher. Josh Anderson had an unbelievable playoff, so I'm sure, he's still going to be a part of the program.
They're in nice shape. In
really
a big
interesting team right now.
And I feel like they would feel, management's probably a little disappointed that they weren't able to get more done. But that speaks to me to the experience of Jeff Gorton, who oversees, and Kent Hughes been around this time of year his entire adult life, right? The previous life being a top-end player agent. But when you get a taste the way Montreal did, as deep as they went into the playoffs, now you're looking at, okay, well, geez, if we had that, maybe we'd have found a way to win the East. But the market wasn't there. They would have loved to get their hands on Nico Hischier. Well, Nico Hischier stays and he resigns and extends with New Jersey. But they like the look of some of their young guys and how they're developing. They think with a bit more experience, Kapanen can actually maybe play up the lineup in the middle of the ice. So they're locked and loaded for a while.
Yeah, they've done a really good job. Now they're pot committed to all these guys.
We've talked about that a lot.
They're in on it.
You get married to 5 or 6 guys, but if they don't win you anything, what good is that marriage?
Well,
and that's what they've done here.
This is the thing, though. I would rather have them with Damodoff at $9 million and Caulfield and all that cost certainty. If it doesn't work, that's where you go to them and say, "This isn't working. We are breaking up the band." Like,
or they come to you.
They might come exactly. They might.
The way things work now.
This is the age. We are seeing a shift. We joke about it, but the NHL might be coming a little bit more like the NBA, where guys are like, "I need to go play with my buddy over here, and I'm going to do this and that." I would much rather have a guy on term that you can work with than now a guy who's holding a contract over your head and saying, "I'm not signing here. I got to do this and this." Like Connor Hellebuck's a prime example. He's got 5 years left on his deal.
Yeah.
Yes, you'd like to maybe get something done if you're both sides and he's asked to be out. There's no rush. Dylan Larkin put up his hand and said, "I want to be here." Stevie Eiserman says, "On my timeline, not yours."
100%.
So
that's the only way to push back.
Yeah.
Well, with that in mind, you mentioned we were talking about the Leafs and Chaika and how he's not done. How would you describe the Morgan Riley situation? Is it the player wanting out? Is it the team wanting him out? Like, what's the power balance on that?
I would say to this point, it's been more the team, but almost an acceptance from both sides that, all right, it's time. And everybody has that expiry date within an organization, right? Whether you have term, to your point, or not. But I think that there's a high level of respect in this market from an organization perspective for Morgan Riley. And they want to treat him fairly. They want to do the right thing by Riley. Is it possible he stays? I guess. Like, if they don't, like San Jose was a team that most definitely was in on Morgan Riley, and he would have gone to San Jose, but Mike Greer had something else cooked, and maybe it was in waiting, being patient. Maybe Darnell is going to expand his list, and he ultimately does that, and they close the deal with the Edmonton Oilers. But JP Barry, this isn't his first rodeo with guys like this.
Yeah.
So. And if Morgan has to return to Toronto, then that's what he'll do. He's not uprooting his family and going somewhere where they're not going to be happy. And it's a completely different looking Maple Leafs team. Mm-hmm. So maybe deeper in the lineup.
One. Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one because there's a fan element to it as well because he's got such a connection here. He's been here for so long, but he started hearing it last year.
Oh yeah,
like it was. Yeah. If he's back, he's really got to play better.
Mm-hmm.
Like that goes without saying. But like if you're going to be back, okay, new coach, maybe a new D partner. We'll see what maybe he plays with Radish.
Or Tanev or somebody because he's
got to elevate his
him and
game.
Carlo were
wasn't good last year.
That was Louis Domingue.
Yeah. Yeah, and Carlo was hurt a lot, and whoever he played with, it didn't. Yeah. He wasn't alone. They all struggled. The whole team did. This isn't just him.
No, not.
But Morgan Riley defensively really struggled last year.
Yeah,
like really struggled. So if he's back, he's got the spotlight on him.
Yeah, that wouldn't be option A. I don't think him being back.
Right.
But what about this? Like, I'm looking at a tweet here. So fun. This Washington Capitals, they're a bunch of mutants. I'm telling you. Alex Tuck, it's what he tweeted out. Alex Tuck, 6'4". Dubois, 6'3". Yeah. Kyrou, 6'1". Tom Wilson, 6'4". Boone Jenner, they just got 6'2". Dylan Strome, 6'3". That Protish is 6'6".
Well, both brothers.
Both of them are 6'5". Ryan Leonard, 6'1". Now, Ovechkin, I don't think will be back. But like that, that's a mutant team.
Is that what you're getting from Wash, Dregs? Is that Ovi is packing it in?
Nothing confirmed, but I mean, all indications are.
How come he didn't want any kind of see you later?
Unless he comes back for a year to do the victory lap and just plays for peanuts. That seems like a stretch. And just how active Chris Patrick and the Capitals have been, all indications are he's not. But we don't know that officially yet.
Yeah.
All right, Dregs. Well, like how much deeper into the summer do you expect news to keep trickling out? You think the next day or two and then it quiets down? Because Like the league shuts down.
Yeah.
By the end of July,
Yeah.
usually it shuts down for like 2 months.
Yeah. I know there's going to be lingering stories, and we've touched them all here.
Yeah.
With some of these guys that are looking for a restart, So maybe some of the clubs back off a little bit and just decompress and see if there's a change of heart as you get closer to the middle of the summer. But, this one had a weird feel to it. A month ago, we're talking about how lousy free agent frenzy is going to be because the talent pool just isn't there, right? 10 days ago, all hell breaks loose with this massive trade and this massive trade. And, overall today was, I would say, pretty entertaining.
Yeah, it was.
From a fan perspective.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
A lot going on.
There's some loose ends that need to get tied off.
Okay. Love it. All right. Safe travels.
Well, thanks, fellas.
Good luck with
Have
the
a good
garbage,
summer.
the suit, the whole nine. Yeah, have yourself a great suit.
It's a tough
see you in
drive,
September.
too. That's a tough drive out there.
And into flood territory in Manitoba.
Oh,
It's going to
yeah.
be brutal.
Is it ugly out there right
Ugly,
now? Yeah, that's not good.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
boys,
Drex.
have a great summer.
Great seeing you. There's Darren Dreger, our TSN Hockey Insider. Senegal's up 2-0 on Belgium. Not good. Not good for Belgium. Very good for Senegal. So the World Cup continuing and U.S. playing Bosnia tonight. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and up on YouTube Live.
Wimbledon on TSN, where tradition is king and grass is the crowning glory.
He has done it.
Don't miss the grandest of the Grand Slams. Wimbledon on TSN, June 29th to July 12th. Tennis lives here.
Go big or go home.
Argonauts, Stampeders, Thursday on TSN.
Tonight,
This is the moment.
on TSN 1050, the round of 32 rolls on with the United States facing off against Bosnia-Herzegovina. Coverage starts at 8 p.m.
World's biggest stage.
Hear it all on TSN 1050. The FIFA World Cup 2026 lives here. Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Now, is that going to be a problem?
Yeah, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem for them. It's outrageous, egregious, preposterous.
OverDrive. Arbitration.
I've been wanting a piece of them for years.
You think we got a case?
Your face is my case.
All right. Felt fitting on a day like today. Mix in a couple of arbitrations, right? Canada Day. Happy Canada Day to everybody out there. World Cup going on, NHL free agency. Jays are rolling. Everything's coming together here. And I have a few arbitration cases for you guys. And we know the way this works, right? It's all hypothetical.
Yep.
But let's assume a team, a player walks in arbitration, is offered something. You can either take it or leave it. Very simple stuff. You guys ready to go?
Yep.
The Maple Leafs walk into arbitration, and they are offered Sergei Bobrovsky, giving them an average of 35 starts over the next 3 years. 35 on average over the next 3 years.
No,
Take
dude,
it or
I'm not
leave it.
taking
Can't
it.
take it.
I'm leaving it. I want more than that. I don't care how old he is. We see all you guys said how good a shape he's in, and then he could be good later in his career. I'm sure the people in Florida are saying maybe move off of this guy. We think his best days are behind him. You got to consider that too. But I want more than 35 starts. I'm leaving it on the table.
But you used the word average.
That would mean year 3, making $7 million,
Yeah, but hold on.
averaging 35.
But what if year 3, it's a low number, and in year 1, he gives you 55?
I don't think
in
that's
year
what
2
arbitration was suggesting. I think they were kind of saying,
because
that's kind of
here's
your
the thing. I'm leaving it because I want they need more than
50.
35 starts.
What do you
next
think
year.
they need from him next year?
45, something with a high 4 in it. Maybe even a low 5, but 40.
I need a 5 in it, man.
No,
Really?
I don't. I don't.
You don't?
I don't. I need.
I'd like a 5. I don't know if I'm getting a 5.
I say 40, whatever, 6, 7. If you can give me 47 starts, 50 appearances.
47 starts.
Here's why. Because if Stolars can give you 25 and Artie can give you 10, 15, now you're on to something.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't have to play 55 for me. But would I like to see him in the mid to high 40s? Absolutely. Next year. I don't care about the following year.
I know,
let's kick the can down.
I got you, but he did sign a 3-year deal, $7 million. And if he is as competitive as everyone says he is, I don't think this is a Robidas Island scenario in year 3.
No.
You know, like in Florida, that's coming. Everyone's getting 6 years. Gudas is not playing in 6 years.
No, but at 1.5, you can waive him and
of
even if he's
course,
healthy,
and
you put him on waivers.
But just say you're out of here and you're done, and we'll just pay you or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll bet you Marchand does the same thing. I'll bet you a number of guys down there do that.
Right.
If Bob signed a 5 or 6 year deal, I'd say there's a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. This guy's not playing that whole time. 3 years, I think he's coming up here saying, I'm playing. I want to play. I'm going to play. 35 on average is not perfect, but it's not bad.
Yeah, but you're not taking it.
I'm asking
sniffing
you,
it?
let
I'm
me ask you,
sniffing.
you're
I will
sniffing
pass out of like sheer understanding that they need him to play more and need him to be very good to feel like they can secure a playoff spot.
Run me Rick Bushwood where he uses the words do the math.
Do the
Because
math.
84 games.
I know.
He needs to play more than 35 because who's playing 84 minus 35?
Stolars is about to start a new contract. He's getting a bump next year. They're
I
paying
know.
over $10 million for these two guys.
But
Do the math.
Thank you.
That's what I'm saying. Do the math. It's got to be something with
Okay.
a 4 in it where you have a tandem. And if there's an injury, Artie comes up and plays, and you've got a three-headed monster, like I said before. I want to see Bobrovsky at least be a tandem guy that has 45
and next year in
starts
particular, that is why you pass on this, is because next year you need
more
45 plus.
Yeah.
You're right. You've paid for him. I don't know if the chip on the shoulder thing applies to goaltenders as much. You can't stop the puck harder because you're so pissed that Florida moved off.
How about a healthy team and some defensive structure in front of me? If Florida was healthy last year, it looks different for Bob and Net, his numbers and all that. They weren't. Like I told you, the game I called, there was 12 regulars missing.
Yeah.
There were guys in there that I didn't recognize. Donovan Sabrango, who they just resigned, nice player and all that. He was like their number one defenseman at that.
Big money, big games.
Yeah.
Big minutes. All right. The Blue Jays walk into arbitration. They are offered 10 home runs for Vladdy the rest of the season. So starting today, 10 home runs the rest of the year.
You know what? As
Take
bad as he's
it.
been, I'm leaving it. I want more. I want 15 to 25 homers the rest of the year.
Guy's got 4 as of
I don't care. I don't
Okay.
care. My expectations for that guy, they're maybe a little bit unrealistic because every time he's the type of talent that comes up to the plate, you're like, it's kind of like the Aaron Judge factor. You're like, is this guy going to rip one out of the park? And he is not even close right now. And I think he owes it to everybody, most importantly his teammates, to get his head out of his ass because he's awful.
Yeah, he's playing, and he's kind of lazy. There's been a lot of buzz around him not really running out singles and ground balls.
Bad back, though? Didn't they shut him down for the bad
he's
back
not
the
playing
other day?
today, so I don't know. It was
How bad was his back?
The old one-day tightness and right back in the 2-hole.
Yeah.
I'm passing on it, though, as well, because they can't get back in the race
without him.
You have to open up the idea of him getting red hot. Am I bracing for that? Absolutely not. Like they have played 86 games. He's got a 700 OPS and 4 home runs. Like, this is way more than just a small sample size. He is really struggling, but so is the team. And the only way out of it is you got to hope this guy just snaps his fingers and goes, I'm hitting 17 home runs over the last 50 games.
Yeah, I agree.
Again, I know it's not likely to happen, but it's about as likely as them still making the playoffs.
Yeah, I think it was the first game against the Mets where it was, I think, the 8th inning, and it was like a close score, and he came up with somebody on second. I'm like, this is such an opportunity to just mash and put the game away, and it was just a feeble ground ball, and I'm like, that's where you're at right now, man. He's in a bad spot.
Can you imagine an arbitration case where they're a guy's making $45 million, and they say, we'll give you 14 home runs total on the season.
Bo looked pretty good defensively yesterday.
He's getting comfortable there.
Yeah. I will say I'm leaving it, too, because the expectation too high for this guy.
Quickly, before we continue, I guess Don Waddell of the Columbus Blue Jackets has issued a statement.
Oh, yeah?
Which is strange. Here's the statement. You guys want me to read this?
Yeah, let's read it because it's topical, right?
Earlier this spring, Zach and I met and talked about his future with the Blue Jackets beyond his current contract, and he indicated that he wasn't sure what the future would hold with regards to staying with the club or possibly moving on. During those discussions, we talked about me exploring opportunities to move him now, and we all agreed that if there was a deal to be made, that I would bring it to him. We found something that would work for the club and took it to him. After some time and discussions with his family, Zach informed us that he didn't want to leave Columbus. That would, of course, be the Dallas trade that they're talking about.
Right.
He has invested a great deal in this organization, and after coming close and falling short in the past 2 seasons, his desire is to win here and get this team back into the playoffs. The past 2 seasons have been very challenging ones, but also ones of growth for our team. Our goals from ownership on down, and Zach's goals are the same: to win now, return to the Stanley Cup playoffs, and win the Stanley Cup. So, it goes on and on and on. But
so you went through that whole.
So he's not
now. All of a sudden, he's Mr. Columbus Blue Jacket, and hey, whoops! Sorry about that misinterpretation.
If I was on the team, I don't care, assistant captain or just Joe Blow, I would usually somebody like the general manager or president or somebody addresses the team. I close the door and say, let's hear this, pal.
Yeah.
What is it?
And again, it ends with Zach has been a very important part of the organization and our community for a long time, and we couldn't be happier that he will continue to be moving forward.
So it's basically
now it's just the Zach Werenski.
Did they call his bluff and go, okay, you want to trade? We'll trade you. Dallas Stars tomorrow. And then he's like, I don't want to do it.
That's kind of what it sounds like.
It's a weird dynamic because I started the show saying that's probably one of the top 3 places to go if you're going to get traded.
Yeah.
In a scenario to a tax-free state, and he's like, I don't want to go. So did they have a change of heart where he sits down with his wife and his family, and they go, actually, we do like it here. And
so Zach Werenski. Oh, we're doing the dual statement. So Werenski now sending out a statement. Don and I have had very open and honest dialogue since the season ended. Ideally, this wouldn't have become such a public thing. But that is the world we live in now, and everything got blown out of proportion, in my opinion. I want to win, and I want to do that in Columbus. As I've thought about things and discussed everything with my wife and family, we want to be in Columbus. It has been my home for the past 10 years, and I've always been proud to be a Blue Jacket. We have the best fans in the NHL. I love my teammates and coaches, and I'm looking forward to doing everything I can to get us back into the playoffs and compete for a Stanley Cup. Don and I are completely aligned on that and are excited about what's to come with our team.
Okay,
so
then what the hell was all that nonsense about? That's so
waste
stupid.
Of time. And listen, Waddell admitted they presented him a trade.
You want to go? Here you go.
And I blame him. I blame Zach Werenski because Don Waddell didn't dream this garbage up. You know what I mean?
No, of course not.
Well, no.
He's being honest. I agree with, I think it's really strange that we're living in this world where guys 2 years out are saying,
get me out of here.
Don't know if I'm staying. It's like that's in 2 years.
I thought about that too. How come teams just don't say to them, well, we don't care what you want to do in 2 years.
Why are we talking about this?
We're going to try to win with you for 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was Brady Tkachuk. It was Quinn Hughes. 2 years out, I just want to let you know, I don't think it's like, why are we even having this conversation? I guess what I'm getting to is, what is the difference between being 3 years out and saying that? Why is 2 years the one where it's like,
yeah,
because I think 2 years out, I'm letting you know.
The players think they're doing the team a favor, saying you can get much more for me if you move me now.
Well, but he also didn't answer that he would re-sign in 2 years. He just said, I want to remain in Columbus.
Right.
And Columbus. So if you're the Blue Jackets, you're like,
okay, do we?
Why are you? Let's talk extension right now.
Right now
you're Mr. Columbus Blue Jacket.
Yeah.
Why don't we start talking about what that's going to look like?
Honest to God, I think what happens is they open up their phones and the next day, and it's like, this is caught wildfire. And it's not just.
But you can't blame the world we're in. Werenski told them.
Hear me out. I'm not blaming the world. This is the world they live in, the world we live in. We talk about it. It's not our fault. He's the guy who went to them and
created
said,
it.
Exactly. We're just reacting to it. What I'm saying is they got a dose, they got a splash of cold water in their face going, this is real. You said it. If there's a trade to be made, we'll bring it to you. We brought it to you.
Yep.
Oh, now.
And now,
sure.
now I think about it. The Buckeyes are pretty good.
Damage control because he's got to go back into the room. But they are putting out a fire saying,
do you think that's
nothing to see here?
Do you think there's potential? This is, douse the fire. We're still going to flip you in 2 weeks. Do you trust those statements? You know what I mean, though.
Yeah.
Do you trust that those statements legitimately mean Zach Werenski's playing next season in Columbus? Or me and my family, we live here and it's nuts and it's going crazy and we don't know we haven't decided what we want to do yet. So let's try to get everyone off our trail.
I think it's more he starts the season there and sees how things go. And if it doesn't go well, then you look at options because of what you just said. Where's our contract extension? Are you making sure? Because they have to know by the deadline next year, is this guy extending? Or else you could probably get a king's ransom for him at that point. I think what they've done is taken a step back and it's damage control. Because, like you said, he's got to walk into that room and he's got to play and probably puts in the group chat to the boys like, hey, this is Boone Jenner's gone. It's his team. He's not, Boone Jenner was their captain and
been there 10 years, best player.
And now it's Werenski's team. And I just come back to the comments What did Rick Bowness say? The guy looked me in the eye and told me, and then, well, what's going on here? Like,
I
I'd
know,
love to
it's
be a
bizarre.
fly on the wall.
What an unnecessary circus if that's what we got. But it wouldn't surprise me if 2 days the guy was traded somewhere too.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know what to believe because Werenski and his reps clearly talked to Columbus,
right,
and said, regardless of how you phrase it, I'm not staying here in the future or a blunt trade demand. It's all in the same world.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're a GM, what's the difference between I've made up my mind 2 years from now, I'm out of here, and I've made up my mind that I'd like to leave right now? What the hell's the difference? Like, you know what I'm saying? How do you wear both hats? If you're Zach Werenski, how can you be like, I am so committed, I love this place, but in 2 years, like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy to be here for the next 2 years. I just don't buy that.
That's not unreasonable for someone to say, you know what, I'm going to give it my all here for 2 years. I love Columbus. I'm paid to play here. I want to make it work. I'm going to do my thing. But in 2 years, when I'm a UFA, it's my right to explore different options.
Sure. And that's a valid point. There is a difference between I'm not signing here in 2 years, which has reportedly happened, like Brady Tkachuk and Matthew Tkachuk said it in Calgary.
Right.
I'm not signing here. And I'm not sure if I'll sign here, because that is different. That could be a player trying to be a bit of a power broker too, using his leverage to tell the team, you better smarten up and get better here,
right,
or else I'm not sticking around. Like, I think there's a chance Matthews is doing that in Toronto.
Right.
I think there's a reasonable chance he has said, I might stay here my whole career, but if we stink, I'm out of here.
Yeah, you got to look at options.
And maybe Zach Werenski was doing the same thing, and Waddell responded with, okay, forget it. You're out of here right now.
Yeah. Hellebuck did it at the end of the season. Said, I need to see something different.
Yeah.
You mentioned it earlier. Now Dallas has got to do some damage control with Harley.
Yeah, Thomas Harley didn't do anything.
He was gone. He was flipped.
It's just, again.
Now it's welcome back to training.
Hey, we love you, man. You're such a great guy.
We're getting dueling statements. This is damage control. Love to be a fly on that. If they did a 30 for 30 on this in the last 48 hours, 72 hours, love to be a fly on the wall.
I love the combo statement. Donnie Waddell and Werenski. And like Werenski saying, like, ideally this wouldn't have become such a public thing. That's the world we live in now. I don't know. Blown out of proportion. Dude, you won the Norris and you're almost traded to Dallas. How did you think people were going to respond to that? Yeah. So there you go.
Well,
arbitration.
You can tell them. He's like, you know what? In a cold, hard minute, I decided I didn't want to leave.
And listen, you're these guys are humans. I understand it. You're allowed, you know, it's one thing at the end of the year. It's another thing. You wait a couple months. You know, I guess in the end, if you're a Columbus Blue Jacket fan, if he's genuinely still 100% committed, that is a good thing. The guy's your best player. He's the best player you've ever had.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure Rick Nash is considered the GOAT down there. Werenski just won the Norris.
Yeah.
That is an extreme award to win. Like that's top of the barrel stuff. And he's been there for 10 years. They drafted him. They've developed him. He's going to own every team record.
I will say, you're right. The human side of it, I don't know if he would want his story to end this way.
Yeah, that's another thing.
You know, like his legacy, not that they care, but I don't know if you want your story in Columbus to end that way. It'll end eventually, maybe. I don't know if he lives his whole life in Columbus or whatever, but if he asks or they end up moving away from him, I don't know if you want it to end like in a weird kind of... Right now, it's a bit weird. I think they're trying to put that fire out.
Yeah, just Donnie Waddell and Zach Werenski, two pals. Just figuring this thing out. Everyone's so happy.
They are two pals.
Everyone's so happy.
Again, Rick Bowness. I want to sit and have a beer with him.
Rick just shoot from the hip,
hear what he says.
Rick couldn't care less about anything.
Well,
Rick's been retired 7 times.
I love it.
Keeps coming back. Yeah, I'll stick around.
Yeah,
I'll give it a shot.
But what was his comments? He looked me in the eyes and told me he's staying.
Yeah, he was.
So
not
you know
happy
what? Rick was right. He's staying.
In the end, looks like Anders Lee is signing a 3-year deal in Utah. So the longtime Islanders
Utah making a move.
I like that.
Utah's making a move.
Like
man.
I was looking him up this morning. He's 30 goal scorer at 35
He's had a good
years
run.
old.
He's had a good run. All right, recap of the day coming up. OverDrive continues up on YouTube Live.
What else can you say about it? This is the biggest stage in world football.
Tonight,
this is the moment.
On TSN 1050, the round of 32 rolls on with the United States facing off against Bosnia-Herzegovina. Coverage starts at 8 p.m.
World's biggest stage.
Hear it all on TSN 1050. The FIFA World Cup 2026 lives here. Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Hit a winner last night, Mexico. Man, they played well. It was a delay, too. There was a weather delay, and they came out firing. There was some story out of Mexico City where some dog disappeared like a month ago.
And a lady
he's
put
on
it
a party.
Facebook.
Yeah, the dog's just running around partying.
I know, but a lady put it out on Facebook. I lost my dog on San Ramos Street, and some guy brought it to her.
Yeah, a month
Hammered.
later.
But
He's
there
like,
was a
hey, this
picture
dog's
of
been
him.
just partying with
And a
us.
picture of people carrying the dog.
Yeah,
It
dog's
was
having the
awesome.
time of his life. He's probably like, really? I guess I'll
Gotta
come
go
back.
home. Yeah.
So anyway, I'm on the U.S. tonight. Like, I know Bosnia's been a great story. Beat Italy to get into the World Cup.
Yeah.
Tied Canada. They made it through the group stage. But these host countries, it's such an advantage.
Yeah.
Like they're their home country. They've got everything set up. Bosnia, I think, has run out of kind of magic here in terms of their run. And I think Mexico through, Canada through to the round of 16. I think the Americans are going to get there tonight too. So you got to pay a little juice on that. But I'm on the U.S. Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Same game parlays available for every World Cup match on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Please play responsibly. 19 plus. Physically located in Ontario.
If you want, over
All right,
the
boys.
next couple of weeks, we could do OverDrive exit meetings.
I like that idea.
You could get me and Noodles on one at a time and say, you said this, it was kind of stupid. I want to talk about this.
No,
what were you thinking
I'm a
here?
team
Think you
player.
need to have a
I would
good
never
summer?
do that.
Come
I would-
back.
OverDrive
focus.
exit meetings. Think
Yeah, but the
about
problem
it.
is
Okay.
he's having some exits too. This
I
summer.
do.
Like
Yeah,
it's
that's right. I'm not here. I'm taking a couple weeks off coming up.
OverDrive exit meetings. That would be so
We
hilarious.
should have Doogie run it.
Well, Doogie, do you have the sack to kind of question us? and
That's the
put it-
question.
That's
with
true.
Doog- I think Doogie's got a lot of potential. I do.
JP would. JP would
JP
stand
most
up for
certainly
us.
would. Absolutely. Joe from the Bridge would love to. You give him some airtime, Joe from the Bridge will come flying in. Anyway, great stuff today, everybody. And thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today. TV, radio, podcast, web, up on YouTube Live on TSN's YouTube channel, and soon to be streaming up on Crave. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at...
Good season. I thought you were a 4.5 out of 5.
Oh, I'll take
Great
it.
season. I thought you were a 3 out of 5. 4 p.m.
We'll chat then.